So we've been playing a lot this week. A lot of the things we've been doing have been based on this idea of a construct, or I call it the subliminal user interface. All right. You've also heard me mention proprioception, mirror neurons, all this other cool stuff. Let's get a little bit of a working theory. Right? And there's a lot of different directions and rabbit holes we can go down, but let's just get the theory out of the way, even though you've been working it all weekend. So somebody who has not been in this class ever sees this, they'll know what the fuck I'm talking about. We accept that human beings have an energy field in and around their bodies. True or not true?
True.
Okay. Now, depending on what your background is, where you started in this field, you may call it an aura, you may call it an energy body, whatever. We're going to look at it from a purely electromagnetic, scientific, neurological perspective. It doesn't mean the other paradigm is false. In fact, most of the things I teach are inclusive of the phenomena we see on the metaphysical side. The difference is we can prove this. Right? We can't prove there's a Pleiadian or a gray floating around in your auric field, making you want chocolate chip cookies at 3 o'clock in the morning. We can't do that. Right? We can't prove that, you have a tear in the membrane of your chakra that's causing you to crave, beer at weird hours. You can't prove that, right? But we can prove this. We can prove this. And if we get a bunch of things that we can prove, and then using that proof, or those elements that we know are real, create a mechanism that gets us a result, that's useful. True, not true. Right? Then we can start to extrapolate and see what that implies in terms of other things. I spend a lot of time exploring the implications of certain things and then testing it to see if it holds water. So the first thing we need to talk about is you have this thing called a spine. Within that spine is a little cool thing called a spinal cord. Right? We know this. True, not true?
True.
Right. Now, running through that spinal cord are these things called electrical impulses that go all over the place to this thing we call a nervous system. Now, the nervous system, just like any system, is divided into divisions or compartments. We all know about the central nervous system, which is the brain and spinal cord. We understand the autonomic nervous system, more or less, which is the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, right? Your breed and feed system, breast, whatever. But there's another division to your nervous system that we don't really think, actually most of us don't even know about it, much less pay attention to it, but it's the one where a lot of the rubber hits the road, functionally speaking. It's called your proprioceptive nervous system. Your proprioceptive nervous system is a very long, drawn-out word for the part of your neurology that monitors time and space. Time and space. If such a thing as ESP, extrasensory perception, which is a misnomer, a sixth sense, it actually existed, it would be located in your proprioceptive nervous system. But it wouldn't be your sixth sense. It would be your 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th sense. Because there are at least 6 different kinds of information that your proprioceptive system monitors, processes, and responds to preconsciously. There are some conscious aspects to it, but there's mostly unconscious and preconscious. One of the things that we can consciously check is if I reach into my pocket and I feel an object in my pocket. Oh, that was a different object, never mind. Now she laughs. Need a little reptile stimulation. I keep touching my reptile anyway. Stop it. It's the part of you that recognizes what is actually in your pocket without you having to look. Okay? So, Proprioception monitors mechanoreception, nociception, interoception, electromagnetic fields. There was one more.
Can you do that again?
Mechanoreception, nociception, electromagnetic fields, spatial relationships. I think there actually is a division called proprioception. I'm not sure if that's one. Nociception. It's pain. Interoception is the feelings and the activities going on inside of your body. Mechanoreception is your movements in time and space. Yes?
Those are big words for me. Can you write them down?
They're not important. Okay, Mr. Surgical Technician back there. Okay. Okay. The one we want to worry about, right? Yes? Okay. So all of these things meet at your proprioceptive grid. Now, proprioception monitors internal relationships and external relationships. When you get pulled over for drinking too much, and they have you stand on one foot, touch your nose, and do all those weird things, your proprioceptive nervous system is the part that they're testing. Okay? Ladies, when you walk into a club or an event and you get that creepy feeling at the back of your neck because someone's looking at places they shouldn't, right? Thank your proprioceptive nervous system. Right? The proprioceptive nervous system perceives attention and interaction of one person's energy with your field as pressure. It interprets that and creates a sensation that lets you know something is happening. It interprets electromagnetic information. Okay? Now, this is important for us because the spine is like a 360-degree antenna that radiates a spherical field. Now, most of the people, when you see these nowadays, they depict it more as a torus. You guys know what a torus is? Big donut shape, right? And if you look at it a lot of our energy centers are basically intersecting toruses, right? And we're not going to get too locked into that. But if you impose the donut, you'll notice we have hemispheres, right? Anything in your forward hemisphere, we said was what? Active. It's a file or a program that's open and running, right? Anything back here is over. It's done. This comes out in our language. These archetypal location or spatial filing cabinets. You'll say, I can't get past something. I got to get over this. I got to put this behind me. These are literal as well as metaphorical. Okay? Your brain cannot make a distinction. Assume this has warmth, actually has coffee in it. Your brain... Your brain... yeah, like it's your fucking fault, right? Your brain doesn't distinguish emotional warmth from physical warmth. If I give you a warm drink to hold while I'm speaking to you, you will feel more warmly towards me emotionally. Okay? If I give you a cold drink to hold, you will feel more coldly towards me. That's embodied cognition. Embodied cognition. The parts of your brain that modulate physical warmth, modulate and measure and create emotional warmth. Okay? Yes?
So you can kind of warm yourself up just by thinking of somebody like you're attracted to or love?
Yep. Or, well, actually, it'd be better if you held a warm drink or had them hold a warm drink. They'd love you more. If I give you a soft, cushy seat to sit in, you will judge me much more softly. If I give you a hard back chair to sit in, your judgments will get much harder. Right? Yes?
So the whole punching thing is what?
Fun.
Fun for me.
Okay.
Right? I can change how that blow feels by changing my emotional state. Do you know what punch hurts the worst? Zach, what punch hurts the worst?
Happy. What is that?
Goes right through your fucking defenses. The love punch.
That's weird.
The love punch. Yes.
So what about like the temperature in the room?
Yep.
Using that towards your advantage, which would you, if you're like
What do you think?
in a meeting or?
Well, if I want somebody to be comfortable with me, I have to make sure they're comfortable, don't I?
Sure. Well, I'm just more like for like a sales or like a power perspective.
Well, if you can control the environment, by the way, we teach all this stuff in Killer Influence. If I'm in a sales environment, I need trust, I need warmth, I need them to not be so specific when they judge me. So I need soft chairs, warm drinks, and a comfortable temperature. Okay?
Comfortable what?
Temperature. If I can also figure out if my client is right-handed or left-handed, I will stand or sit to their right side, depending on what their dominant hand is. I get
The
sneakier.
one with the same hand or opposite hand?
You always want, if you're presenting to someone who's right hand dominant, if you stand on their right side, they'll like you more than if you stand on their left side.
Can you talk about the eye?
I could.
Will you?
I will.
No, right.
What do you want to know?
Some of the things about the eyes, and like we were talking about it last night, where it's
Hypnotic gazing.
if you look at the left eye of a person, it's different than looking at the right eye, which is what most people look at. Is that correct?
I don't know that that's true.
All right, well, I'm glad it well, maybe it's not true.
I don't know that that's true. When you look at somebody, you want to look at them. There's two gazes that we learned in sales school. One was called the magnetic compelling, the other was called powerful directing. You want to think of it as a drawing or a gentle holding or embracing of their attention as opposed to the serial killer stare. Right? That's powerful directing. If I want Fred's attention to be on the thing, as I'm talking, I will look at it, and there's a compelling reason to just look where I'm pointing, right? Whereas if I want to talk to Fred, as opposed to the contract, I'm going to hold Fred's attention gently, right? And that's a very compelling gaze, right? So that's two ways that we can begin to do it. Now, if I want to get hypnotic, which that is hypnotic in and of itself, the longer I hold eye contact in a non-creepy way, the more attracted to me you'll become. The longer you hold eye contact, the more attracted to you people will become. Attractivity is one of the what?
4 horsemen.
That's right. The 4 horsemen of unstoppable hypnotic influence. The more huh? It'll amplify rapport. But you do have to get to the point where you can hold the eye contact, which means you have to have some level of comfort or an ability to bypass their social zones.
Steve says he can induce a hypnotic state by staring and moving his head like a snake.
It's not completely true. I said it's helpful when you're inducing. If you're trying to put someone to a trance, you need to get absorption.
Were you at the training where I gave the woman an orgasm by looking her in the eyes? The blonde lady? Remember I brought her up and I...
Dominatrix, then
No.
yes. I think that's the only one.
No, it was the blonde lady who...
CPI?
No, it was at Erotic Hypnosis last year.
I wasn't right there.
Oh, you weren't?
I was at Vegas, Erotic Hypnosis?
Yeah, you were there. You were at the one in 2015, right?
Yeah, in Vegas.
Yeah. Towards the end of the training, there was one lady who was sitting off on the left-hand side, smaller lady, worked with Rick.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I that's when I did the energy thing where I went in through her eyes, it surged the energy up through her liver meridian and into her spine and gave her an orgasm just by looking at her.
You gotta do it to him now.
It's on video. I'll show it to you. I don't give a shit what you know. Bitch, if you can do what I do, fuck you. And you can talk.
Amen.
I'm gonna go get my sunglasses.
How you really feel?
I love what I do. I do. I have a great life. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But, I'm also, I'm highly competitive. I really am. And I don't have time for bullshit. But I'm also tolerant of other people's approaches. And, as my belief is this: if you can do what I do, doing what you do, keep doing it. Right? If not, it means if your shit works as well for you, and you can get the same kind of results I do as quickly as I do, doing the methods you use, do it.
You stared at her liver?
No, I went in through her eyes. You access the system through the eyes. You create. He's writing this shit down. You have to create coherence in the system. Once you create coherence in the system, you're not two organisms anymore. Right? Then whatever energy whatever sensations you generate in you, their mirror neurons will pick up and will replicate the experience.
And this is like first timer. This is like you know.
I've known her 2 days.
Now you know how to score on the first day. You see that?
That's borderline.
Was anybody else there?
No.
Nobody else was there. Okay. I have the clip. If I'll find it, I'll let you watch it. Yeah. Nah, I can do that shit. A lot of a person's willingness to go into those things is context and environmental specific. They were there for erotic hypnosis training, so their guard and what they were willing to let themselves do was dramatically different. That was a class of hyper responders too. When I walked in there that first class, I'm thinking I'm in fucking deep shit. Because everybody there was classically trained, which means they were all therapists, right? Except for the dominatrix who showed up, had no hypnosis.
The guy in the back of the room who was doing the camera was like the wildest thing I've ever
Kenner?
seen. Yeah, that was awesome. You should bring him around.
Oh, he's around. The erotic hypnosis, the thing about Kenner is the erotic hypnosis event in 2014, the first exercise we did, he had massive abreaction. And I fixed it, and he was hyper responsive from that moment on. You were there, remember that?
Yeah.
We did it.
He was sitting there going,
Yeah.
I saw.
And those anchors are still there. So every now and then you'll see me go, Kenner, boom! He's off in the corner in a fetal position, like, hey.
I saw him hit the floor.
He did. He still goes to the floor, right?
He hit the floor like shaking.
And then Joe came in, and they found those two were like the hyper-responsive twins. So they're sitting there going, zapping each other at the same time. I love my life, right?
So the snake thing does work.
Yeah.
The hypnotic gate, there's a lot of
different ways to do it, right? I showed Diana another way to just take over somebody's neurology last night after the class. After everybody went home, I just touched her and went like this, and she sat down for me twice and didn't know why. What was that like?
Like you say, you showed it to me. You kind of demonstrated it. I sat down. I had no control over it.
It's voodoo. And Vince is like, what the hell just happened?
It was.
Anybody else see that?
Yeah.
You did see that? Yeah. Right.
I was there. I stayed around.
I have a freaky world. But again, yes.
So you're saying that the left eye or the right eye doesn't matter?
Not as
I've
much.
heard that before, too.
Not as much. If you buy into hemispheric dominance theory, then the left eye is where you want to go because that goes to the right hemisphere. Right? But honestly, it doesn't really matter as long as you look into one eye. Right? When you look into one eye, you look through it and past it. And then you just relax. That's right. Sleep.
I did it back to him too to see where we're going. It was a cool experience.
Right.
Everything kind of faded out.
Mm-hmm. That's where you can start. And the idea now is you don't look at him. You look through him. You move your energy field past him so that you can interact with it. Right? Eye lock is a little bit different. A lot of different ways to do the hypnotic gaze.
Are you trying not to blink on that one?
Eye lock, you don't blink. The less you blink, the more effective it is. Right? But I'm not a blink Nazi, so. Right. These are all skill sets. I mean, it looks like it does look like magic. Like there's some weird power, and there is a power going on. There is a power being utilized, but it's not as esoteric as we like to make it. Right? I think the laws of physics are super magical. I mean, nothing is random, right? And as long as we start to embrace this idea that patterns repeat at different levels of vibrational experience, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. But let's get back to this so we can get back to actually fixing shit, right? Because that's why we're here, right? These are the foundations that open up the matrix to you. And that's where you're at. You're seeing the matrix now. You're seeing a very small part of it. But even the small parts have some power to them, don't they? Right? This is my mission, to bring it out. What you guys do with it is up to you. Anything in the front of your body is open and active. We tend to see it as a sphere, or we think of the aura as this nebulous, gaseous, energetic type cloud. That's all kinds of cool colors, right? And vibrationally speaking, it is. But I don't see it that way. Everybody here knows what an XYZ grid is, right? You all know what an XY grid, obviously. It's mapping coordinates in 2 dimensions. When you add a third dimension to it, you have to have an XYZ grid. So you have an X, a Y, and a Z. If you impose an XYZ grid on the human energy field, all of a sudden, when people talk and their hands start to move, those grids have relevance. They're spatial, 3-dimensional filing cabinets where that information is stored fractally and holographically. Because it's an electromagnetic, because it's vibrational, you can have an infinite amount of information in one spot. Okay? Most of the information is infinitesimally minute in the code, but some of it isn't. Some of it is really fucking big. Deleted, with information that's deleted, distorted, or generalized, as NLP likes to say. The locations, in terms of its proximity from the periphery to the interior, are indicative of how identified or associated you are with that information. And literally, it will turn up the amount of energy your nervous system is cycling through. In other words, neurological arousal. When people have traumas, that shit's never out here. It's never here. It's always right here, and it's big. I've never seen anybody with a trauma, and they pointed to it and traced the edges of it, and it was like this. Never. Unless their normal-sized images were like that. It's proportional. My wife has very, very small windows, but everything is small, right? It's all relative, right? When the information moves to the core of the body, and the minute it breaks the skin, that's when you're in it, right? You guys took the picture, lifted it up over your head, and all of a sudden you're in it, right? Okay, that's where holographic memory resolution works. Okay, and there's tremendous, tremendous implications to that work. Even though we're starting with trauma release and addiction recovery, there are tremendous, tremendous transpersonal implications for that. It makes a lot of metaphysical practices functional. But that's not why we're here. So, anytime somebody begins to describe their problem, the first thing you, as a real-world hypnotist, need to do is know what point, look where their hands are going. Their hands will instinctively go to the spatial coordinate where that information is stored. Their hands will move in the direction the energy in that container, the holographic container, is circulating in. There will be a shape, there will be a color, there will be all kinds of associations in the container, and within that container itself is the actual event being replayed over and over and over again. Fractally. Within that fractal closed or pocket dimension, which is on an endless loop, there is a fragment of your consciousness that is also fractal, which means it has all the memories you have up to that point and nothing beyond it. Right? We can work with the container. We can work with the spatial locations. We can work with the context or the movie. We can work with the electromagnetic signature that encodes it. We can work with all of these different things. Yes.
So it's got all the memories up to that point.
That's my belief.
So then you had that experience, then you had a lesson about that experience later on, how this doesn't apply, which means there's like that lesson doesn't apply to it, that's why it's stuck on a loop, and you would have to kind of merge it.
Yeah, in very heavy duty traumas, that little bubble, it's like there's two metaphors I can give you. One you're very familiar with. Everybody here knows what an antivirus program is, right? All right. Most times your antivirus software is cruising through your system looking for something to kick out, looking for something that doesn't belong there. And most of the time it does. It just deletes it, right? But sometimes there's a program it can't get rid of, but it can stop from affecting the rest of the system, at least to some degree. And what does it do with it? It quarantines it. It takes it and moves it or walls it off somewhere in the system so that it's still there, but it's not directly hurting or impacting the system. It's still, by the way, taking up space on the hard drive. It's still taking up some processing speed, right? But for all intents and purposes, for the moment, it's not a problem. Anybody ever accumulate too many temporary files on your computer?
Yeah.
What happens? Shit slows down, right?
Yeah.
Guess what happens when you start to accumulate lots of little trauma bubbles like that? Your shit gets fucked up. The system slows down. It stops operating optimally. Yeah.
I also learned that that's what the liver does too, with the toxins that it processes that it doesn't know.
Yes. When your liver, the metaphor he's using, when your liver comes across a toxin it can't break down or remove from the body, it encases it in fat and stores it in your fatty tissues. That's why many times, like Isogenics, which is a great product, like many times when you go on that cleanse, you'll drop a ton of weight really quick because it purges the system, it cleanses the system. Right? So there's a lot of toxicity that fat is utilized to prevent from killing you. Right? So it's going to kill you. Instead of killing you fast, it kills you slow. Yeah.
With the toxicity inside the fat cells, can that play on or add to like certain people's experience of depression?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because of the way the neurology organizes and catalogs. Remember, the minute that let's say we have a trauma, whatever it is, big trauma. You broke a nail when you were 6, and you're an aspiring fashionista, so that's like a mind-numbing experience, right? Or you're studying culinary school and you accidentally put too much salt in something, and whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We have to redefine what trauma actually means to the system, right? Be that as it may, the moment that container is created, the unconscious mind still has to do something with it. It has to put it somewhere. So it does. And you know what it does? It creates sections for this kind of trauma, sections for this kind of trauma, sections for that kind of trauma. It connects them by what they have in common. Even though they may be radically different experiences, if they have one or two events in common, that's where they connect. That's why many times when we start to unpack these things, you wind up going through all these different experiences, and you're following them based on that connecting thread, but all the events are different. Does that make sense? Does that sound familiar? Right? Your system worked. It protected you from the trauma. It took it and put it in a storage cabinet. But that has to have an organization to it, and it's organized by what they have in common. Well, just like any toxic dump, 1 or 2 canisters ain't a big problem. But 10 years of toxic dumping, now you have a problem. Now you have love canal, right? Because those containers will start to leak. They'll start to take on a mass. They'll start to take on an amplitude until your system can't hold it down anymore. And so it starts turning up the messages that say you need to go in and fix this. Yeah.
Would you say like that's kind of the root cause of beginnings of the disease?
Would I say that? Would I say that?
I have a feeling the answer is yes.
Yes. In fact, most of our shit works this way. Even stuff we don't consider diseases. It's just an extreme of an ongoing process. But you're not broken. The fact that you're doing this means the system's working. But nobody taught you how to flush the system. You gotta flush the system. Right? You just gotta do it. So, anything that we can put behind us stops hurting us. But sometimes the neurology will fight putting it back there right away because it's afraid if we let go of this, we'll forget it happened and it'll happen again. So we have to preserve the safety aspect in order for the neurology to be willing to let the rest go. If the container of the experience is too big, it will have too much amplitude to move easily. We tested this. When I had you take something that on a Shinja scale of 0 to 10 was like a 1 to 3, and I had you trace the images of it, and I had you make it really big and try to move it, and then I had you shrink it down and try to move it, which moved easily? That will always be that way. It doesn't mean you can't move it, but it will demonstrate a principle to you. The nervous system changes fastest when there's less energetic charge to the event. This is why when we're doing any form of regression, and you will be doing regression this week, you won't be going deep dish into regression. But we must vent the emotional charge somehow to get the fastest ability for the nervous system to change. Okay? Traditionally, old school regression is just going back to that event and having them run that movie and feel those feelings. It's a little bit sadistic, but it works. And it works well. Right? Because the problem that we're having isn't the event, it's the feelings and the emotions we're not expressing. The system is designed to move energy through it. An energetic charge held in the body means energy's not moving. Chinese medical theory 101. When energy stops moving, you get pain. You get tension. You get stress. And that's the gentle stuff. Goes on long enough, you go from what we call chi stagnation to blood stagnation. Blood stagnation means that the energetic charge has become so strong that it's actually pulled the blood into that area and stopped it from moving as well. Cancer is a form of blood stagnation. Tumors are a form of blood stagnation. They've gone from blood that has slowed down to stop to congealed to a mass. You see how it all fits?
It all starts with the energy.
Yeah. Well, actually, it starts with the event and the emotional system in place. Once the emotions are out of whack, it's not long before everything starts to accumulate and it follows. Yeah.
Very question. With families with history of cancer, would this be correlated to almost like the story of the ham?
Yeah, can be. The genetic. Listen, let's get the whole genetic monster on the table and get it off the table really quick. If you let's take cancer off of it for the question. If you have the gene that says you're an alcoholic, you guys know that there's an alcoholic gene now, right? But you never take a drink. Can you become an alcoholic? No. But you got the gene. So what? It's destiny, right? No. Genes just mean you have a predisposition. If you'll get the destination if you take the trip. Right? And your genes change. Epigenetics teaches us this. Right? Your genes change. So whether you have the gene or not, is it a factor? Yeah. Is it as big a factor as we tend to make it? No. No. Okay? So, along with your proprioception, you have this organism in your body, called a mirror neuron. Mirror neurons are extremely powerful and important in what we do. It is the piece that allows our state control to have maximum impact on the client. Because your mirror neurons are designed to take information through the senses, interpret the intentions behind them, and actually reproduce at a subtle neurological level all of that information in you, as if you were actually doing it. And it doesn't have to see all of you. Okay, studies show that if you can only see from the upper half of the body, but you cross your legs, the brain will pick it up. Okay? How does it do that? Electromagnetic fields. Remember I said the proprioceptive nervous system of the body monitors 6 different pieces of information, one of which is electromagnetic fields, right? The human heart radiates an electromagnetic field that is measurable with instruments 8 feet in diameter. Mm-hmm. No, mine's much bigger.
10 to 12 miles. Probably more.
When you really train it, it becomes non-local. But in vibrational influence, you'll learn how to play with that. You'll learn how to raise and lower people's blood pressure, make them break out in a sweat, invade their dreams, do all kinds of cool shit. Yeah, our energy training is a little bit different than most people's. Brandon's you've been through one, right? You missed it. The second one was even cooler. That was cool. But you were at both, actually, right? Each one he's been to has been different. You actually came to 3, didn't you? Did you come to the second, the third one? Oh, never mind. I'll tease you with that later.
Wait, so that's you do that training?
Yeah. 8 feet in diameter. If you're normal. Average. Right? Which means 8 feet from his body, his energy field ends. Not. Right? And then 8 feet. So I can be 16 feet away from you and still play with you. And I don't even have to be looking at you. Or he doesn't have to be looking at me. This is where our state control begins. Or our empathic influence begins. Right? The technical term is coherence. It's kinesthetic rapport signified as a synchronization of the heartbeats. That again, it goes beyond suggestion. The system you want to reference for that is called HeartMath.org. Okay? They took a dog and his boy, hooked him up to machines, let him go out in the yard and play. Within 15 minutes, their heartbeats synchronized. So suggestion is no longer on the table, which everything is suggestion, by the way, so you might as well just get used to that. Suggestion is just communication. I'm not a hypnotist. I'm a practitioner of the art of suggestion. I can deliver those suggestions any number of ways. Right? So, the proprioceptive grid is a field around your body, 360 degrees. The spatial coordinates are indicative of categories or classes of information. When your hands move while you're describing something, your hands need to move to those locations to access that data. Okay? When people talk about their traumas, pay attention to it. They will show you every single time where that information is so that you can access it. Right? Especially when they say they don't see things. Because something's seeing something. And that's all we care about. Make sense? Okay. Now, how does this relate to the last piece of the identity by design silo, the magic circle? Magic circle is the generative component within the identity by design silo. Everything else you could consider remedial. In other words, we're going in and we're changing something that got screwed up or it wasn't installed right or whatever. In the magic circle, we're actually selecting people or exemplars or avatars, depending on what word you resonate with, who represent qualities, characteristics, skills, and abilities we want for ourselves. Things we want more of. Right? I did a little bit of DTI with you on Wednesday night when I had you float up out of your body and down into the image of me teaching you and being me for a little while. What was that like?
I had more charisma with the stuff next morning.
Were you too sexy for your shirt?
I am right now.
Who else? How many people remember? How many people just checked out completely? Julie, what was that like for you?
I mean, I remember you doing it, but I don't consciously remember any feeling.
A lot of people have blank spots. David started talking, and I don't remember anything after that.
I kind of feel a little amnesia for that.
You feel amnesia?
I know he did it.
Yeah, Brandon.
Yeah, it was really cool. I remember the experience of floating in, looking at the world through your eyes, and just rehearsing skills, the vocal tonality.
Did you feel superior to everyone?
It's really cool.
No. Yes, Dustin.
When I floated down and merged, I felt like I had the ability to impart knowledge and technique to the rest of the audience, to bring them to my level, so to speak.
Cool.
It's like coherence with everybody.
That's good. I like that. Coherence with everybody. Yes, coherence with everybody is actually what I do. I put a whammy on the whole room. Okay? That's the system. That's the system, right? Your mirror neurons, your proprioception, you get your body engaged, you get your imagination engaged, and you access this. You understand the dynamics of unconscious response. You start to trust the information you're getting. You monitor the kinesthetics to make sure that the kinesthetics match what you want, and you just keep playing with the system until that happens. The kinesthetic system, the kinesthetic feedback is analogous to the vibrational frequencies you're accessing and putting out to the universe. Therefore, if the feelings in your body are right, your vibration is right, and you will ultimately attract more events that are correspondent and supportive of that frequency. Vision boards don't matter. What matters is the feelings they generate in your body. Does that make sense? All right. Magic circle. Very simple, actually. I tend to do a lot of these things. By the way, in my world, the gray room is in the womb of eternity. So when in doubt, start with the womb, go to the gray room, and do your work within the gray room. You'll be fine. Okay? I heard a huh. Horton hears a huh. Okay. So, storyboard. Induce. Deepen. Float up. We go meta on this, right? We relax the body, raise the consciousness. Hear that? Relax the body, raise the consciousness. To the womb of eternity. From the womb of eternity, we go to the gray room. Within the gray room is a glowing circle of energy, and you are in the center of it. At cardinal points. And you can have 1, you can have 4, you can have 12, it doesn't matter. At each compass point of the circle, with a wave of your hand, you magically summon the avatar of the person who symbolizes the qualities, characteristics, and attributes that you want for yourself. Follow me? Yep. Let's say that you want to be more relentless. So, like Zach, you summon up Darth Vader. Bad idea. That's actually kind of cool.
This could get real weird.
My point is, when you do deep trance identification, you have to be careful. because there's a lot of people who didn't understand the full impact of really, and we're giving you a basic understanding, which is still better than most people's ideas of DTI anyway. In advanced regression and actually in Secrets of Personality Transformation in Vegas, we're going to go even further into deep trance identification. I'm going to show you some dark side stuff applied for more gray purposes and benevolent purposes, but the technology is sound, and that's why it's dark side, because it was developed by people who didn't give a shit in environments where it needed to function. Right? Some of the best shit is developed by criminals, but that doesn't mean we can't use it, right? Or by the military, right? AKA Velcro. Right? My point is, it's not the technique that's evil. It's the application, right? The outcome, the intention. So, divorce evil from your mind, right? It's all good if you're using it for good. We'll go very, very much more comprehensively into building very complex deep trance identification protocols that are, much more pervasive. But the things we want to talk about when we think about DTI, deep trance identification, A, make sure you're only extracting the qualities you want. So build a filter in place that only pulls in the characteristics and qualities that you can covet for yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally. Because many people love to do deep trance identification on a man named Milton Erickson. The problem with that is a lot of them wind up not being able to walk. Lack of planning and really good mirror neurons, right?
Only pulling characteristics that are emotionally...
That you want, emotionally desirable, emotionally healthy. If you're let's put it this way, if you're skinny and you're doing deep trance identification with someone who's rather large, don't be surprised if you have a sudden desire to eat. Or vice versa. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Can you just be specific about what you want from that character?
I would. Most of my DTI, I'll give you my codes. I started with Sherlock Holmes, James Bond, Captain Jack Sparrow, Robin Williams, George Carlin, Richard Bandler, Kenrick Cleveland. Did a little bit of Mark. That's Sam Kinison. Yeah.
Can you do them all individually?
You can. Or you can do them all together. I'm going to do the demo in a minute. And I'll probably just do one or two. But I've had people do like 10. Right? It doesn't matter. As long as you understand the process. Right? Jay, come on up here, brother.
Sherlock, you have co-predictions?
What?
Seven solutions. You get like an impersonator could become that person. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would think that's something.
Yes. Remind me to tell you about Captain Jack the acupuncturist. Shall I? All right. Huh?
Captain Jack the acupuncturist is a horrifying thought.
I go lay like a rock star.
Is that why you always do that?
Drunk all the
Huh?
time.
Is that why you always like your rest?
Indeed I do, love. Indeed I do. Hello, mate. Hello. All right. So, we're just going to walk through the DTI process, right? And it's actually kind of fun. Do you have anybody that you'd like to have more of in you? In that non-gay way?
Oh, it's got to be non-gay?
I feel a round of sweet transvestite coming on. Who was in class when I did the Frankenfurter imitation? Well, you think I won't?
All right. Can't even look at you. I see it.
You saw it, didn't you? You felt it coming.
I can't deal with it.
Be careful what you ask for. How do you do, baby? Shut him right down. All right.
let's do, actually, Austin Powers. That's a great one.
Yeah, baby, yeah. And then we shag, baby, yeah. I used him as well.
Oh, that's glorious.
You want some jubblies too, do you?
What?
Jubblies.
Don't ask.
All right, your feet will remain strong beneath you. Sleep! Deep sleep all the way down, deeper and deeper with every breath you take, every beat of your heart, Jay. Drifting, dreaming, floating, flying. Oh, so relaxed, so at peace. Your body becoming more and more relaxed. Your head can come back up, but you can go deeper and deeper and deeper. Still open your eyes. Close your eyes all the way down, deeper and deeper. And deeper still. Open those eyes all the way up. Close those eyes all the way down. Drifting, dreaming, floating, flighting, guided by the sound of my voice. Wonderful sensations coursing all throughout your mind, all throughout your body. Wonderful senses of pleasure. The kind of pleasure that's right. Doubling and tripling with every breath you take and every beat of your heart, because the more pleasure you feel, ooh, yeah, the more oxytocin you release. The more oxytocin you release, the more rapidly your neurology goes, ooh, I can change now. And of course, the more you change, the better you feel, the deeper you go, and it just goes that way. Yeah, baby, yeah. Now in a moment, not yet, but in just a moment, baby, you're going to notice your consciousness flying all the way up out of your physical body, leaving your physical body far behind, blowing higher and higher still. As Captain Jack the Hypnotist takes over, you'll begin to notice a wonderful sense of relaxation, a wonderful sense of freedom, free of the physical body. You can move anywhere you like in time and space, to the past, to the present, or even parallel universes, parallel lives, where other versions of yourself are learning and living and having adventures, things you can learn from. And it's a wonderful thing as you continue to float higher. And higher, and higher still. That's right. And as you do, you can actually look down. You can actually see that glowing line of time beneath you, the one we visited so many times. That's right. And as you continue to float, you see off in the distance a beautiful star, a familiar star that winks and twinkles and welcomes you home. You find yourself being drawn towards it, moving, floating, flying, that wonderful energy getting stronger and stronger, bathing your mind, bathing your body in all of those wonderful things that you love so much. That's right. And you pass through that beautiful light. You feel a cleansing as if a beautiful, special, fine filter has been applied through every part of your being, filtering away any stress, any strain, any less than positive experience, until only the purest consciousness of Jay is remaining. You find yourself passing through that light into a very familiar place. A dome-shaped room with pearly grey walls. In the center of that room, where a huge fireplace used to be, is something different. A beautiful glowing circle of energy. And there's one small portion of that circle that isn't quite glowing yet. And we're going to step inside, you and I. And as soon as you do, that section lights up, and you feel an energy washing through you. You feel a sense of command, a sense of power, a sense of being one with God. And in this place, in this time, in this construct we call the womb of eternity, and the grey room, and the magic circle, you are one with creation. And anything you can intend, anything you can imagine, anything you can act out, must become true and real for you in the external world. Just the way it works. Now, as you look around the exterior of that circle, you can begin to notice that there are people, avatars, examples of qualities, traits, and characteristics that you really want more of, that you would like to have installed deep inside of you for yourself. And with a wave of your hand or a snap of your finger, the first one appears. And when you see him or her, nod your head to let me know. That's right. And as you look that person in the eyes, you can feel an energy moving back and forth between the two of you. If you know what a chakra is, you can feel your chakras actually aligning, and energy beginning to flow back and forth. Information being downloaded and transferred. Your vibrations synchronizing like a Bluetooth. That's right. And when you're ready, I want you to turn around and step backwards into that person, becoming completely one with them, seeing the world through their eyes, hearing the world through their ears, feeling the world through their body, sensing and believing and understanding and perceiving themselves, the world, and everyone in it as this person. And as you do, mate, what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to live a life as them. Go where they go, do what they do, understand the way they understand. Go on adventures, baby, yeah, that's right. Over and over and over again. Whatever formative experiences they had that were necessary for them to become that kind of person. Take only what you need, only what you want, only what gives you those qualities, traits, characteristics, and attributes. And when you know you've got it, when you know it's locked in, imprinted indelibly at every level of your mind, every level of your body, then all I want you to do is nod your head to let me know. Take a deep breath, breathe in their essence, feel them becoming a permanent part of you, imprinting, merging, and step out. Turn around and face that avatar. Look them in the eyes, and with all the gratitude that you have to give, thank them for what they've shared with you. And with a wave of your hand and a thanks, dismiss them back from whence they came. And as you look around the circle, take note, is there anyone else whose qualities, characteristics, or attributes you'd like to have more of? Name them, summon them. When you see them, nod your head. There you go. And once again, as you look them in the eyes, you thank them for coming. The energy between your eyes begins to blend and merge and pass information back and forth. Your crown, your third eye, your heart, your throat, all of your chakras aligning, vibrating, synchronizing. The energy transfer accelerating, maxifying. You can just feel it like downloading information from the matrix. Like Neo going, I know Kung Fu. The Kung Fu is getting stronger and stronger still. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, turn around and step into them. Feel that energy surging all throughout your mind, all throughout your body. Live that life. Feel that feeling. Know what they know. Be them now in every respect. Taking only what you most need, what you most want, to exemplify those qualities, characteristics, and attributes that give you the results you crave and desire. Live the life over and over and over again, thousands of times at the speed of thought, until you know you've got it. When you know you've got it, nod your head to let me know. That's right. Take a deep breath in, breathe in that essence, and step out again. Turn around, look your avatar in the eyes with all the gratitude and deep felt thanks you have to give. Thank them and dismiss them back from whence they came. And now, anytime you need to, Jay, anytime you want to, you can go to the womb of eternity. You can visit that gray room and enter your magic circle. And as an act of will, you can summon forth any quality, characteristic, or attribute that you want. You can step inside and become the embodiment of those powers, of those abilities, and express them, integrate them fully into your own persona, into your own being, expressing them and enjoying them, wielding them at your will for all the right reasons. When you know you've got that, imagine a time in the future, 7 days from now, having fully integrated, installed, expressed, and applied these qualities, characteristics, and attributes. Step into that body 7 years in the future. Notice what it feels like to be that person now. Look back on those 7 days towards this moment. Notice what you've learned. Notice what's different. What have you learned, Jay? That's right. Now move forward a month from those 7 days into that body. Live that life for a couple of days and notice how good that feels. Notice the results that you're getting now. As you notice the results that you're getting now, look back on those in that previous month and notice what you've learned. Notice what's different. Notice it just gets better and better for all the right reasons. And now from that month, move 6 months into the future. Step into that body, having fully mastered and built upon these foundations. Live that life. Look at the results you have. Look back on this moment and notice what's different. Notice what you've learned. Notice what you've acquired. And then, one final time, move a year into the future from that 6-month mark. Into that body, into that mind, into that life. Live it. Turn around, look back on that year and a half. Notice what you've learned. Notice what's changed. When you know you've got it, begin the journey back, walking back in time. And as you look back in time, tracing your timeline back to the present moment, you notice what look like little glowing footprints. And each of those footprints symbolizes a step in the process, a journey, an idea, an understanding, a revelation that you've made, a turning point in the process that led you to this goal, to this destination. And as you retrace your steps back, your unconscious mind has a roadmap to follow, a set of coordinates in your GPS that will inevitably orient on and take you to faster, more fully, more powerfully than ever before, and even beyond it. When you know you've got that, feel yourself floating down into the physical body here in the room, bringing all of those transformations, revelations, and educations with you. Head clear, mind clear, fully installed in every way. When you know you're here, nod your head and let me know. Excellent, baby, yeah. In a moment, not yet, but in just a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. When I reach the number 5, you'll emerge from this state only at the rate and speed that you know you've got it. Only at the rate and speed that every level of your mind, body, and soul is in complete harmony, complete accord with this revelations, transformations, and educations. Number 1, feel yourself returning to this place we call reality, bringing with you a brand new reality, a reality where you're the one who knows how to use this. You're the one who's done the work, who's imprinted the traits, the qualities, the characteristics, and is expressing them uniquely in your own way that gives you the results you want, the way you want it. Number 2, all of my suggestions from me to you, from you to your very own other than conscious mind are now 10 times more powerful, 10 times more positive, 10 times more permanent, locked into that part of your mind, body, and soul that most wants, desires, and can profess and express these qualities, traits, and characteristics. Always at least 3 ways to overcome any situation, obstacle, or circumstance that you may face. Always at least 3 solutions to any problem you need to solve. And your other than conscious mind will now easily, effortlessly, and automatically generate those solutions in the quickest, easiest, most effective way for the good of yourself and all concerned. Number 4, well, because it's all for you, Mr. J. You've done the work. You've followed the instructions. You've obeyed the commands. You deserve the rewards. It's your reality. You've earned it. And it's true for you now. On the next count, you can emerge from this state only at the rate and speed that you know you've got it. Only at the rate and speed that every level of your neurology, mind, body, and soul is completely imprinted with these qualities, traits, and characteristics, expressing them in all the ways that only make your life better by your standards and your expectations. At peace with yourself, the world, and everyone in it. Feeling good all over, glad to be alive. Number 5, take your time, come on back. Notice how good you feel.
Wow. That was cool. Wow. So, the first one that just came up and I saw was Merlin. And the second one was Indiana Jones. So,
Dun, 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 dun.
So that was really awesome. Thank you.
Big round of applause for the man.
Thank you very much.
It's actually quite simple, isn't it?
A little scary. I mean, there's a lot that I feel like could go wrong as well as right.
Not if you've done your cleanup.
Yeah.
Remember, Magic Circle is the last part of the process, right? So if you've done your work, shouldn't be any problem. Go play.